What about from an insurance standpoint? What can someone with diabetes get? Just life insurance?
Okay, just taking you into a scenario, I'm not going to take a name of this person, and I have recently done an application. This lady, she never had insurance, and I went to see her, and it was pretty much said. She's short like me in height, but she's quite built,
Built. Is
and
that
I
a
know,
nice way to say it?
yeah, because I think that actually got her when she got diabetes, and I think she's on thyroids as well. But when we checked her medical records, she didn't have thyroids. But yeah, when on diabetes, she's quite built, and her HB1AC was really, really high. So she was not given a trauma. But her life insurance was loaded 375%, which was like times four the premium.
What was
Yeah,
high?
that,
HPC or whatever? What was high, did you say?
yeah, that is that's one of the codes we use to classify diabetes.
So,
HB1.
okay. So, like, there's degrees of diabetes. So, like, some people can get it, some people can't, or some people have more loadings, or how does it work with
Yes, so
diabetes?
life insurance you can get it, but with loadings. But trauma is very hard because diabetes is one of the diseases that can lead to heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, and all those things. So diabetes is one of the diseases. Diabetes means dying slowly. So basically, it's killing a person, not like instantly, not in 10 years, but it's slowly killing a person. So it's slowly killing a person in a way. It's affecting all the organs in your body, but slowly. So basically, I am diabetic currently. I'm on medication. So I get my blood test done every 6 and 3 months. I just did it on Saturday. That's yesterday. So basically, my GP will check since I'm on all these medications, and they'll want to check if they are harsh on my organs in my body, because currently I can't see inside my body, right? So they need to check every 6 months. That's what's happening in my body. So last 6 months ago, when I did my blood test, they found out that there's nothing wrong. My kidneys are all good. They are 100%. My lungs are working. Only thing was that I'm anemic, so they've added a little bit of iron in my diet and in the tablet. They've increased my thyroid tablets. That's all. So yeah, basically the tablets we're taking, the medication we're taking, there are pros and cons for that. And for that, you have to get your blood test done every 6 months and every 3 months. So basically, this lady whose application I did, and she has been loaded 375%, she must be seeing her GP every 3 months instead of 6 months, because her diabetes is really high. And she's saying that she's managing her diet. She's not taking any sugars, but obviously she's eating roti because she's Indian. So roti has a lot of carbs, and she should be using wholemeal flour, which she said that she is using, but still, even though using wholemeal, carbs is there. Either she has to avoid the carbs completely, or other she needs to start doing some exercises. Unfortunately, she's working in the factory where she does a lot of working. She's doing a lot of standing, and by the time she comes home, she's like lack of energy. She doesn't want to go for other further exercises. So that leads and this contributes as well to her diabetes too. But I think apart from working, sitting in the office, doing the normal works, we should take out some time for ourselves just to do meditation, yoga, or go for a walk, or go for a little simple exercise for 10 minutes. I think that will help. But yeah,
Interesting. I've never seen it associated with stress. So the anemic isn't that's low in iron, is it? Is anemic.
anemic is low.
And
Yeah,
then you're saying
yeah.
don't eat red meat that's high in iron. Did they give you any nutritional advice? What did the doctor,
They
you go
did.
to the doctor, they're like, do this? What was their advice? Mediterranean diet? That's probably the common one.
So they asked me to include a lot of green leafy vegetables. So
Okay.
fruit only 1 point, because fruit also contains high sugars. And as well as they asked me if I could have lean meat, not red meat.
Oh, they want you to have chicken and fish.
Yeah, yeah. So fish also contains a lot of iron,
Oh, yeah, okay.
or have fish and stuff. But they have asked me to portion my diet, and if I'm eating rice, I should have only a little bit, and it should be like a parboiled rice. And if I'm eating bread only once a day, one piece, and only whole milk or other low carbs. So I basically go in the supermarket and look for these low carb breads.
Random. Okay, so
Yes.
so they just think carbs are the enemy, and it's
Yes.
it's confusing to me. It's like one of the red meat is people have the least reaction to it. Like it's the like if you ever want there's an autoimmune disease like rheumatoid arthritis, for example, and if
Yes.
you want to test what food is your body's reacting to, if you start with red meat and remove everything out of your diet, it's the least reactive substance. Like people don't very rarely have a allergic reaction to it. So I just don't get why the
Oh,
whole human like vilifying of red meat. Like it's grass fed, it's healthy. Like chickens, maybe there's hormones, maybe the way they're fed, maybe they're in cages, maybe they're stressed. Whereas if you just got a cow eating grass in New Zealand, pretty much all cows are grass fed. That
yes.
upsets me. Like well, but then what even is the truth? So why do you I think when I was speaking to people with insurance, a lot of the people from the islands or from India seem to have diabetes more often than Caucasians. Do you know like why?
Because Indians don't eat beef.
Because Indians what?
Don't eat beef. They don't eat
Ah,
much of.
because they love cows. Eh?
Yes.
Hindis, it's a god or something. No,
Yeah, it's one of the symbol of
yeah.
goddess, so pray. So there, yes. So there's a long story behind it. I think in India there was a story that there was drought once and there was no water. So cows actually were there to give milk to suffice the taste, not the taste, thirst of people. And that's how they are not sacrificing the cows. They are not eating their meat because the cows saved them from dying without water.
Okay, but gives them
So
diabetes,
yes,
so
that's
they
why.
want more water. No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because okay, so you think they have diabetes because they don't eat red meat? Is that your take, or there's a lot of
No, it's
sugary
not.
foods too? Eh?
Yeah, it's not only the red meats. It's mostly the carbohydrates and the stress. Actually, that's what I was saying. My GP has even said stress is one of the biggest things currently, which affects your sugar level.
It's interesting. I wonder, does it
Yes.
make you eat more sugar, or does it bring sugar into your blood because you're in fight or flight?
Yes, so it brings a lot of sugar and it lowers your insulin production. So these the hormones that I said, adrenaline, something, yeah, it gets more when you are angry, when you are frustrated, or when you are stressed, like you are stressing about something, and so that gets produced more in your
Oh,
body, and that
cortisol.
what's yeah.
Cortisol. Guess what it's called. Um, you're interesting when you wake up and you get sun, you increase your cortisol and adrenaline production and wakes you up. And then when you see the sun set, it makes you melatonin, so which starts making
Mm.
you feel sleepy. So cortisol can be quite useful, but a lot of people, they're looking at their phones, they're watching the news, they've got this stressful level 5, they've got a lot going on in their life. I used to like so it's talking to people is quite scary to me, and I'm a bit all over the place
Mm.
with this. So you're doing well. I haven't woken up, I think. And when I'd try to like stop people, I'd be scared. And I noticed when my sugar levels would drop, I would feel more stressed and more on edge. So if I kept my sugar levels consistent, then I wouldn't feel as nervous. So I wonder, that's interesting.
Mm.
So I'm wondering if the body's pulling the sugar into the blood system because it's like, okay, we need all this energy, this instant energy, because we're under threat. There's a saber-tooth
Mm.
tiger in the form of you getting marked on your level 5s. But anyway, what about Polynesian, like in Fiji and stuff? Like, do they have more diabetes? Surely they like eating beef.
Well, so far, almost all my clients have diabetes who are from Fiji.
Yeah, no, it's insane.
They are somewhere either they are type 1 or either type 2 because of their dietary, because we love our food, right? And in Fiji we have got this lot of root crops. Have you heard about taro and cassava? They are the root crops. They are the main edible root crops in Fiji and one of the national foods as well. So Fijian people, they tend to love their food, and we love our food. And then we include a lot of carbohydrates in our food. And during Diwali, as you must have seen, there's a lot of sweets and stuff. So yeah, there you go. So almost, I think, So far, the clients that I've seen in about 2 to 3 months, I think almost all of them have diabetes, and
Wow.
they are all Fijian.
Good
Yes.
premiums, though.
Yeah, good premiums though. Good for me.
Not for them. So, what can they do to prepare themselves? Like, so let's say someone they find out they got diabetes and they want to get some form of insurance. Can they get it under control? Can they only get trauma and life insurance? Can they get income protection? Like, what's possible and how do you go about it? You could be the diabetes
So,
queen of New Zealand. So,
uh, so if you have got diabetes and it's well managed, you can get trauma, but your trauma will exclude diabetes provision in there.
it excludes it. So you got the slowly dying thing that affects pretty much everything, including your blood, and it's going to exclude it. But if
Yes.
you,
So anything related to this. So if I'm having diabetes, see, till date, to be honest, I'm an advisor and I've been an advisor for about 7. Now this is the 8th year. I've got my own business, but I don't have a trauma cover because my diabetes wasn't managed for all these years. So none of the companies is actually ready to give me diabetes, and I'm under 40 as well and non-managed diabetes. So when I turn 40, I'll obviously go back to the insurance company and request them if they can give me trauma cover. But obviously, I know diabetes will be excluded because my diabetes wasn't managed for all these years. So if you are under 40, my advice here is to manage your diabetes. You might get cover, but your diabetes will be obviously excluded, even if it's on border, even if it's not, you are not on tablet. If you have got, there's a word, glucose intolerance, it shows in your blood, right? That means you are heading towards diabetes and it will be excluded. So there's no way you can get cover. With well, if you want to go to these online companies and you say, oh, these companies are offering me diabetes and stuff, they are obviously not underwritten covers, because I have had some clients come to me, oh, your companies haven't provided me trauma cover because my diabetes is too high, but other companies online I'm applying and they are giving me trauma cover. Obviously they are giving you trauma cover because they are not underwriting your policies. Your policies will be underwritten when you are going for claim, and that's when you will find out that you are paying for something which you are not going to get benefit from. So there's a lot of fight from people about this trauma cover, and people who are having diabetes, their diabetes are not managed, and they come back to me and they say, oh, these companies haven't provided me, I'm paying so much, my premiums are so high. Because your premiums are so high because you have got diabetes. Come on, you need to understand, diabetes is one of the um shall I call it disease, or shall I call what, I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
So
I'd call it
diabetes is some,
disease. I'd say it's one of the worst.
yeah. So yes, so diabetes is one of the things that's making people slowly die. It's slowly impacting your organs. And insurance companies are not made at all, right? They know this person is on high risk. I'm not going to give trauma cover to this person because it's very highly risk and highly claimable. This person is going to claim because sooner or later this person is going to claim, right?
Mm.
So why give them trauma cover if this person's diabetes is not managed? But people come to me, hey, we have tried online companies. They are giving me trauma cover. Yes, they are giving you trauma cover. In the short term, it looks good. But in the long run, when you go to claim, when you are sick, when you need the money, that's when they start underwriting your covers. And that's when they say, oh, you had diabetes so many years back. Now we are not going to pay you the what do you call the claim, the trauma claim, because you had all these things. So that's when that's when people start crying and coming back and looking for advisors. Okay, sorry, we didn't listen to you and all those things. So where were your ears when we were there educating you? This is why it has been excluded. This is why your premiums have been loaded, because you have diabetes. But some people, they have got mentality, oh, I can get trauma cover from an online insurance. There's online insurance that sells online. I'm not advising anyone to get it, to be honest.
Yeah.
People want to save money in the first instant, and they think that they can get trauma cover from this online thingy. They can go ahead and waste their money. But when advisors are there, they're advising them that, okay, this is your problem. You can't get trauma cover because your diabetes is not managed. That's the right advice, and that's a well underwritten policy, and that's the value for money. Because you are putting money into something, you're investing money into something that you will one day get back, right? And you have got an advisor in there who's home during claim time you will call, right? And that person will do anything for you to get the claim in place. But if you're getting anything online, no one is bothered there. It's just online cover. Okay, it's $29. I've got 500,000 of trauma. I've got 1 million of life, and it's $29 fortnight. So it's cheap. It looks good, but it's a bloody lie. You know, lies always look good, and truth always looks bitter. But truth is always truth,
Yeah,
no matter
yeah.
what.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
So with the online thing, so can you explain underwriting? So my understanding is you get all your medicals checked, you disclose things, you sign up, and then they're like, okay, we agree, as long as everything was accurate here, we'll pay you out. But if they do it online,
Yes.
is it like, okay, it takes 2 months, let's look through all your medicals, let's try and decipher to determine if, you disclosed everything? Like, how does it compare, the online versus an application with an advisor?
So, in an application with an advisor, they do fact find. They check your financial backgrounds, whether you are okay with the premiums. Firstly, secondly, they do a thorough medical check. So they'll ask you questions about your health. They'll ask you about your existing health issues, and they'll also ask you about your parents, so about your biological parents and biological brothers and sisters, if they have got. Sometimes your biological parents and biological siblings health does affect your application because there has been a trend, and then it is submitted, the applications are submitted, and then we have got specialized underwriters in different companies who look through your application, and they see, they profile people, high risk, low risk, and depending on the disclosures, right, you have disclosed, and then if needed, they will go and request your medical records, and they will see your medical records for past 10 years, and from there then they will make decisions. Okay, you have got diabetes, your diabetes wasn't managed well, we are going to load your life, but we will not give you trauma because you are under 40 and you have got high risk of claiming. So obviously the insurance companies don't want to take someone who is very high risk, and the claiming chances of them is very high, right? And who are going to be a burden. So they're obviously going to increase your load your life cover. But if your diabetes is managed, you have managed your diabetes for 5 years, it's all good, even though you're diabetic, right? They'll give you trauma cover, but they will exclude your diabetes. So anything related to diabetes will not be covered.
That's
So
crazy
if
though.
you get a heart
Yeah,
attack,
yeah.
yes. If you get a heart attack and it is just because of diabetes, you'll not get heart attack payment. But if you get a heart attack that's not related to diabetes, they will pay you. And majority of the cases it has happened, they have paid you. So I had a client who was on diabetes when I signed this person up, right? As soon as I signed this person up, after 2 years, he was diagnosed with diabetes. But this person wasn't aware, well, this is about the person, right? And this person wasn't aware that his GP has actually advised him that he had diabetes, and this person was not that educated, he's old, he was in his late 50s and stuff, so his eyes, one of the eyes was gone, he completely became blind. So he came to me and he said, I've got a claim because I've got a trauma cover, which is a standard trauma cover, right? So I lodged the application. They went back to the GP, and there was in the GP's note that he has actually advised the clients about diabetes, but he hasn't put the client on medication. So there was the GP's fault, right? He advised the client, he said, but he didn't put the client on medication, on any medication whatsoever.
Now he's blind. Okay,
Yes,
sorry. Yep.
that is blind one eye. So I went back, and there was a big of communication between me and the insurance company and the clients, and then we got onto Zoom call one day. And the good thing was that because the client said I wasn't given any medication and I wasn't aware that I was diabetic before signing up, right? So it was basically a GP's fault. So then the GP agreed and he said, yeah, it was my fault. I didn't put the client on medication. So what happened here is the client won,
So the
and the
client,
insurance company.
wow, okay, so the client had a heart attack and is blind, or
No,
just blind. Okay.
no, no.
Okay, so they're blind
And
from
the
the
client,
diabetes, but because they didn't get paid they didn't get the meds.
yes.
That's insane. Well, at least he got
So
some money, but
the
God, that doctor.
yes, so the insurance company actually ended up paying him because it wasn't a client fault and it wasn't a non-disclosure from the client. It was the fault of the GP. So we can't actually punish the client just because a GP hasn't put his notes properly, just because a GP hasn't prescribed my client properly, right? It hasn't given the medications on time so that his eyes could have like survived because it's dead now. So yeah,
Right, so wait, 10
there
years
you
ago
go.
he went to see a doctor, or how long ago did the doctor put in their notes?
So the doctor put in the notes, I think, same time, but he did not prescribe the medication. He said he has got glucose intolerance,
Like how long
but he should
ago?
have started
How long ago was it?
about 1 year.
Oh, 1 year. Okay.
And then yeah. So he was not aware. And plus, this some of the people who come from Fiji, they are not educated, so they don't understand what they are going through. They believe what their doctors say. Actually, you should, when you're going to see the doctors, you should question your doctors. Why am I getting this medication? Why are you asking me all these questions? Well, I asked my GP, and my GP is very thorough, to be honest, very thorough.
Interesting. Because like if I think about it, the odds that I would see diabetes is you're transporting all the sugar around your blood and it's going to impact everything. It's like the pipes. So it's like if you had some corrosive chemical inside the pipes in your house, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to prove that okay, the house broke down, but it wasn't because of the diabetes. That's going to be wouldn't everything be impacted by the diabetes? Like, isn't it pointless to have trauma? Like, what case, like, would it cover cancer? But then cancer could be
Yeah.
impacted. Okay.
Yes, cancer is covered. So basically, diabetes, I don't think that diabetes leads to cancer. I haven't come across any scenarios like that, but yeah, I'm not aware of that, so I cannot comment on that. Whether diabetes leads to cancer, but yeah, skin cancer and all those things doesn't leads from diabetes, but yeah, other forms, I haven't come across. But yeah, diabetes is a very broad topic in here.
Yeah.
So people think that they have unmanaged diabetes and they want to get an online insurance cover without an advisor. I would say good luck with that. You can go ahead and everything's like, oh, it's cheap, it looks okay. But when you go to claim time, you'll get nothing. You'll get a zero in your hand because the money you have invested was waste of your time.
Unless they get cancer, then that was fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in some unless they get cancer, which is really highly unlikely
Well, it's
because I
interesting.
haven't
It's
come
like
across.
if you get it underwritten with an advisor, like I support the getting it underwritten. That makes sense. I don't like the online thing. It's just if you exclude diabetes, if you do it
Mm-hmm.
right,
Yes.
and if online they find out you have diabetes, but you get something else, like wouldn't you still be covered for the same thing? If that makes sense. Like the one done with the advisor, you're not covered, because you're not covered for diabetes, and the online one, you're not covered for diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you both get cancer in both those instances, you get paid, wouldn't you?
Well, there's another cover you can go get is cancer upgrade or cancer cover
Oh yeah,
instead of trauma. Getting trauma cover, you can get a cancer cover. That's a separate policy that you can get with your life cover, and that can actually. But in your life cover, there is a bit of cancer cover as well because cancer is stage 4.
yeah, interesting. Is there any exclusions with life insurance, or does it matter? You just if you die, you die.
You die. And if you're terminally ill, and if a doctor, a certified physician says that you are only to live for 12 months, you get your money.